Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial is dominating headlines right now, and we have been covering everything going on inside and outside the federal courthouse right here on Sidebar. And with a high-profile defendant often comes high-profile witnesses, victims, celebrities. We have dug into the transcripts from the first several days of Combs' trial to find the celebrities who have been mentioned so far, and maybe we're going to be called to the stand. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Webb.
Diddy freaks out in court like never before. The hip-hop mogul is under fire as shocking details emerge in his sex trafficking trial. And guess what? Taylor Swift and Britney Spears are now dragged right into the center of this explosive scandal. What really went down behind those closed doors is darker and messier than anyone imagined. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex and star witness, broke down on the stand, revealing the wild, twisted, decade-long saga of abuse, manipulation, and those infamous freak-off parties. These weren't just wild nights. They were carefully controlled events where women were coerced into unimaginable acts, all under Diddy's command.
Sean Diddy Combs has been in the spotlight for decades. It's no shocker there. He was a titan of the entertainment industry. He was the head of Bad Boy Records label, creator of the Sean John clothing line, a partner with Ciroc Vodka. He was known worldwide for his legendary white parties in the Hamptons and beyond, and it seemed to be an open secret that maybe what happened behind the scenes at a Diddy party was not exactly dinner table conversation. Before his rapid fall from grace that seems to have started with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that was filed by his ex, Cassandra Ventura Fine, his net worth was approaching $1 billion. But now that money is going towards a high-powered defense team made up of 9 attorneys right now who are trying to convince a jury that he's not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, using force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors with the Southern District of New York claim that Combs used his money, his influence, his power to force women to participate in marathon sex sessions with sex workers, some of whom were flown in for the so-called freak-offs to various hotels. They also allege that Combs made his employees set up for these freak-offs, doing everything from hiring the sex workers and coordinating travel to bringing the lighting and bringing drugs and baby oil, cleaning up afterwards. And the government has called multiple witnesses so far, including Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura Fine, a musical artist in her own right who goes by Cassie, testified about the abuse that she allegedly suffered while in a relationship with Combs that lasted over a decade. And now the question becomes, what other celebrities may take the stand? So to talk about this, I want to bring in SiriusXM host Mina Say What Lona. So good to see you, Mina. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it. You know, we've talked about this trial on the Law and Crime Lunchtime live show before. It is such a wild case, but what is your reaction to what has happened so far, and especially the testimony of alleged victim number 1, Cassie?
Just shock. I think we're all in shock. Everybody knew about the Diddy parties and the after party, but we didn't know about the after party, right? Apparently the after party were these freak-off sessions that were very selective, very coordinated, according to Cassie's testimony, very coordinated by Diddy, and it's not something that we knew about. It's just shocking.
It gets crazier. At Cassie's 21st birthday bash, A-listers like Britney Spears and producer Dallas Austin were reportedly there, caught up in the whirlwind of Diddy's world.
Cassie was on the stand for days of testimony, right? And yeah, you're talking 8 months pregnant, by the way, 8.5 months pregnant. She mentioned a few celebrities, and I thought this was interesting, and it points to Combs' famous friends and connections. So, for example, she was asked about when a relationship with Combs really began, and she testified that they shared their first kiss at her 21st birthday party. And the transcript reads, Sean was there, and he brought Dallas Austin. He brought Britney Spears. I think those were the 2 people that stand out to me. How was a 21-year-old able to attract such celebrities to her birthday party in Las Vegas? That was all him. Yeah, I didn't know them.
Jealousy turned violent. Cassie testified how Diddy flew into rages over her relationships with stars like Michael B. Jordan and Kid Cudi. Physical abuse, threats to release sex tapes, and controlling every part of her life. The courtroom heard it all.
You look up and you're like, I didn't consent to any of this. And that's where the problem begins.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting point about it. And talk about musical artists. Again, we didn't know exactly who was going to testify. So it was a big announcement when Dawn Richard, another celebrity, became, remember, member of the group Danny Kane, Cone's reality show Making the Band, joined the group later, Diddy Dirty Money. She took the stand. She testified, and she testified about the big name artist that Cassie was able to work with thanks to Combs. So the transcript of her testimony reads, "Was your understanding that many times these were artists that were further along in their musical career than Miss Ventura was along in her musical career to kind of help her whatever she was working on?" Yes. And one of them was someone named Kid Cudi. I didn't know that they were working together. I think you said Lil Wayne. I didn't say that. You didn't? No. Sorry. Do you know if that's true? That she worked with Lil Wayne? Not that I can. That's fine. Do you remember any other artists that Miss Ventura did work with? Yes. French Montana, Fabulous, Too Short. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but she did a mixtape that had features on every song. Do you remember the name of the mixtape? Rockabye Baby. Now, Mina, that is huge for Cassie's career. Again, this idea of influence and control, you're hearing from Dawn Richard.
Right. And it establishes that power that you need. And he did that right from the beginning. This is what I can offer you. This is what I can give you. I can put you in the room with X, Y, and Z. I can put you in these parties. You just have to be a part of what we're doing here. And that's how someone establishes their power and their influence over someone. A lot of the commentary on social media is like, well, why would she do this? And why didn't she walk away? Well, she was introduced into a lifestyle at 19 years old, right? You don't even know how to make money at 19, and saw that these were the only options for her to continue, participating in this lifestyle. And then she just, got wrapped up in it. And when you look up, now she's drug addicted, as she mentioned. She's doing things that she's not consenting to, that she doesn't agree with, and she feels trapped. And it's a shame, because you become trapped by being allured by these things, the financial part of it, the power, and now you're in, and now you don't know how to get out. It's very sad, and it happens to a lot of people.
And that's why the testimony of a forensic psychologist, Dr. Dawn Hughes, explaining about power dynamics, trauma bonding, love bombing, why victims stay with their abusers is very important, although she did face a tough cross-examination. But there was another name that came up. Talk about celebrities. This was a name that first came up during jury selection. So the jury was given a list of people and places, like, do you know anybody, these people or places? Could it be a conflict? And Dawn Richard testified about some drama in Cassie and Combs' relationship, and it was in regard to A-list actor Michael B. Jordan. So the transcript reads, quote, "At one point, Combs was jealous, was he not, of the actor Michael B. Jordan? Do you remember that?" Yes. What do you remember about that? Let me ask you what you remember, and then I'll ask you some specific questions. I remember she had started talking to Michael B. Jordan right before she went to South Africa to shoot a movie. And I remember them not being together while she was in South Africa. Now, when she was on the stand, Cassie testified that Combs was suspicious that she and Jordan might have had something going on the side, but says the details of how exactly he came to that conclusion were a bit fuzzy. Mina, this goes to a larger question.
The defense tried to soften the blow, mentioning Diddy's bipolar disorder to explain his outbursts. But prosecutors aren't buying it. They say this is no excuse for a decade of sex trafficking and violence. Dawn Richard and Kid Cudi took the stand to reveal a world of intimidation and retaliation. The trial has exposed the toxic power structure inside Diddy's empire.
Interesting case. Mina, you are all over it. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about the celebrity aspect of it, the high-profile names who are part of the trial right now and maybe will be part of the trial moving forward.
This trial is far from over. With leaked audio of Diddy panicking in court, shocking testimonies, and more celebrities getting pulled into this scandal, the world is watching closely. Stay tuned as we bring you every jaw-dropping moment.